wanna see your name out there. So you wanna fly high above, go all the places that people love.
My available time this month to get content ready for this channel is going to be severely hindered. Aside from the fact where I'm working full time now, the final home stretch of getting Kruger's ready to be published is going to be a bit of a nightmare in terms of time consumption. So I would like to take this opportunity to get another not so weekly what am I at up on the channel, so I can at least check in with you guys now in case, you know, the next couple of weeks go by and content is pretty sparse. This is a mix between an M reading, a Friday reads, or just a channel update video that I do occasionally here on the channel, and is capped off at the end with a shout out to a booktuber whom I think you should all go and check out. So that being said, here we go. So we're going to begin with a bit of a writing update. As before, I will have time-stamped links down below, so if you want to go ahead and skip beyond to the bookish content, you certainly can do so. Unless you're on mobile, then the links won't work, but at least the times are there so you can manually skip ahead if you'd like. As far as the progress on Kruger's is concerned, the draft is completed, a little bit behind schedule, but everything else seems to be going quite on par with what I expected. I have 2 weeks now to edit it myself before I hand it into my editor on the 29th. The whole process from here should be concluded before the end of June. Without question, it is a bit nerve-wracking going back to my editor, because this is the same person who basically tore the original draft apart, and rightfully so. That was a dismal attempt at a story before, but I'm quite pleased with how it turned out now, and although it is nerve-wracking, I'm fully confident that it's going to go over well, at least with her, and that should actually be not only finished, but up on sale before the end of June. So if you're interested, you know, stay tuned for that. I may or may not consider getting another round of beta reading done for it, so if you're someone who's curious enough and interested that would like to probably take a read of it, either before or after I send it to the editor, then just let me know, and if that's something I decide to do, I will get in touch. But yeah, everything is basically going along quite smoothly for now. Here's hoping that can continue, and before July you'll have something concrete that you can read from me. Next up, we have the obligatory Are We Not Entertained update, and well, this is a bit of a unique month for Are We Not Entertained. I can't really give you an update on what I'm reading for it because I've actually already read it and have the video already posted. This month I read The Black Witch by Laurie Forst. This is a book that gets a lot of divisive kind of opinions, and without going to too great a detail about the controversy surrounding it, I'll just leave it at saying that I really adored this book, the message it's trying to convey, the message it actually succeeds in conveying, and I think reports of it being insensitive or problematic are not at least not entirely based upon the full gravity of the text itself. Again, that's just my opinion. I do have the Are We Not Entertained video done, and it's uploaded. It was done right before this one. I am intending to do a second part to that video, which I did mention in it, that I'm going to literally spoil the entire novel. So if that's not up your speed, then avoid it when it comes up. So much of this book has been cherry-picked and removed from its context and plastered all over Goodreads and social media and other mediums to express a viewpoint that I don't think is consistent with what the book actually portrays. That is by no means a declaration that someone sensitive to, say, racial issues and feels discomfort reading a book like this doesn't have a legitimate claim to say so. That's not what I'm trying to get across here. But what I am trying to say is that for those who deem themselves able to read through the text and get through the examples of the hate that you find in the pages, that this book actually gives a very positive message, but uses a very difficult kind of presentation to convey that message. It's not gratuitous, it's not distasteful, it's visceral. It's certainly not sugarcoating anything. My plan is to take our main character and do a analysis of the complete character arc she goes through. All 4 different waves of it. Because there are people trying to say that she was racist all along and her redemption arc is not satisfying. And that's not really an opinion that I share. In fact, I will use the text and I will use a bulk of the text to make my case. So not just, shouting to the void that I disagree. But the thing is, this second part of the video is going to require a complete reread of the novel. And I'm going to be taking extensive notes. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get up. I can't promise it's going to be up in the next week or two, but I assure you that it will. I'm going to go through the entire story from beginning to end with this character, explain her arc, take all of these very commonly quoted sections of the book, the sections used to represent how negative and how racist this book is presented, and put it into the context of the story itself, and let you make up your own mind, and maybe even have that discussion of, well, yes, there's a lot of racism in this book, but does that inherently make it a racist book? For those of you passionately against this book, that you don't want to read it, you don't want to support this kind of content, that's why I'm making the second video. If you are interested in the conversation, this second video should get you caught up, and I will present it as an objective form as possible. And hopefully, like I said, it will spark some conversation and maybe be able to look at this book into a different light. Both, maybe I will see it from a different view, maybe you will. That's the interesting thing about what I want to do with this video. So I'm not going to say stay tuned for that because I don't know how long it's going to take me to get that up, but it is coming, I assure you. This brings us to, I guess, a bit of an announcement of a new kind of series that I plan on doing with this channel. It has been suggested by a number of you, considering the things that I do to myself on this channel, that I may need to change the channel from Indie Insomniac to the Book Masochist. To be fair, I haven't exactly thrown out that idea yet, but in the spirit of this, to go along with my Are We Not Entertained self-inflicted insanity, and my Butchering a Novel project that I will talk about in just a minute, I intend to start another series that I am endearingly referring to as the New to Book 2 series. New to Book 2 is a new initiative that I'm kind of toying around with. Still haven't worked into details, but I know it's something that I'm going to do. But of course, I wouldn't be me if I just went and just, told you about it and then moved on. I gotta give you the backstory. This is a project to help speak to me as a writer, not just a reader. My idea of writing a series is I want to be the kind of person who can write a series, but do so in such a way that I can tell a large story, but be able to craft a story that people can jump into at almost any point and not be lost. The best way, besides actually writing, to get skills that you require or skills that you want is to read about them. That's what I plan on doing. I plan on taking series, not ones I don't like, because Lord knows I have Are We Not Entertained already. I don't need another avenue to read books that I don't want to like. But I want to take series that, I may be interested in or sound interesting or had a passing fancy for them, but not so much that I care too much about being spoiled or ruining the experience. Instead of starting at book 1, I'll start at book 2, maybe book 3, maybe book 4. I will start in the middle of the series just to see what that reading experience will feel like. If I'm writing a trilogy, I want you to be able to jump into book 2, and of course, it's book 2, so you're not going to understand some of the nuance, you're not going to understand some of the intricate relationships between the characters that were established in the previous book. But you should still be able to read book 2 and then book 3, get the complete story and feel satisfied, such that you could then go back and read part 1 and it won't feel like filling in a piece of a missing puzzle, but it will feel more like basically reading a prequel novel instead. And that's the kind of thing I'm going for here. An author that does this really well is Jim Butcher. You can jump into the Dresden Files anywhere in the first dozen books pretty much, and you won't get too lost into what's happening. Sure, you won't know the details of this grand story going on in the background, but the book has its own specific narrative that has a beginning, middle, and end. And anytime something shows up from a previous story or something that was established before, Butcher is really good at getting you caught up as fast as possible without going into too much detail. I'm not sure if this is just going to be a video that I do, or if I'm just going to make a Goodreads group and just use that as my avenue to keep track of this all. I probably will do that, actually. And that way, you know, if anybody wants to read along with me, they can, but this is just going to be for me to keep track and to read these books pretty much out of order to see how well it goes. See authors that do it well, authors that don't, what works, what doesn't. And as I do that more and more, I'm going to hope that some of that bleeds into my own writing. By all means, I would love to see in the comments some recommendations, some books you think that this would be great for and I will learn something from. Some books you think that this would be terrible for and I will be punished by reading it, and it'll be hilarious for you to experience my pain. Yeah, just let me know what you think. And now, speaking of the butchering a novel project that I mentioned a few months ago, I never did come right out and say which ideas made the cut and what story I need to write, and I really shouldn't be surprised. If you're watching this channel and you know me from Are We Not Entertained, and you know me for doing all these random ass things that, you know, are more for experimentation than actual entertainment, I shouldn't be surprised that you guys were able to come up with these terrible ideas for novels. But I am a man of my word, and it is a project I will get done. It's something I'm going to start working on fairly soon, actually. It'll be a palate cleanser I can jump to between writing the other work that I'm working on. The two ideas that won were, the first one comes from Brit. It's a love triangle between a fairy, a mermaid or merman, and an elf. She also said there can be zombies if I like, which is, thank you for that, Britt. That doesn't make it any more convoluted at all, not in the least. And then the next one actually was kind of suggested twice. One from Jen Hansen, who says Dracula and Edward from Twilight, and the other one, which kind of cemented the fact that it was going to be one of the ones I went with, was from David Wardrop. A young Edward from Twilight type vampire is embarrassed by his grandfather, a Bela Lugosi type vampire. So those are the two ideas that I will now take, and okay, it's not going to be anytime soon, but over the next couple of months I'm going to try and craft that into a novel. Whenever I get any kind of decent update, or say breakthrough in the story or anything like that, I will make a butcher novel video, or I don't know what I should call it yet, but I'll make a video updating you guys what's happening with it. I'm not sure if I should say thanks or put up a picture of a middle finger right now, but either way, I got what I asked for, so again, the book Masochist, it may be a thing. Moving on. And that brings us to our last piece of business, which is a reading update. And well, it does actually look as though this is going to be a month where Indie does a wrap-up. It's the 13th of May at the time of recording, and I will be completing my 5th book today. And most of them at least provoked some kind of reaction, so that's something I guess you can look forward to. The current book I'm working on that will be finished today is Love Letters to the Dead. I got it on audiobook because it was the daily deal the other day, and contrary to what it sounds, and the fact that Of the Dead is in the title, I want to warn you, there are no zombies. This is not a horror. This is a contemporary story about a girl writing letters to dead celebrities in epistolary form, so at least I got that out of it. I didn't get zombies, but I got an epistolary novel, so I'm not entirely upset with this. The idea of writing letters to dead celebrities and using that as a framework for a story of a girl going through the grief in the morning of losing her sister and a number of other things, it actually isn't all that unpleasant, I will admit. I'm relatively enjoying the story, but I'm about 4 hours away from completing it, which means it's less than 2 because I listen at more than 2 times speed. So yeah, I'll be finishing that today at some point. And what I'm actually reading in the physical form, and much to the delight, I'm sure, of Olive, is The Last Werewolf by Glenn Duncan. It has been very discreetly, yet incredibly aggressively recommended that I read this book, and I finally dove into it. It got a little sidetracked because I was in the midst of reading this when I learned that The Black Witch came out, so I kind of put it on pause. But I'll be returning back to that book today, which will be book number 6 for this month if I get it done anytime soon. So, like I said, this has already been an above average, quote-unquote, reading month for me, in terms of sheer numbers, but we'll see in the end of the month how I actually felt about what I actually read. And that brings us to the shoutout portion of the video. Now, I've made no, or at least I don't think I have, made any hard and fast rules saying that I can only shout out newbies in this section. I will shout out people with more subs because this is a large community, and just because I have less subs doesn't mean they're all subscribed to the same people. So that being said, and in the interest of making that entire preamble absolutely useless, I'm going to shout out another newbie for you right now. I've made no secret about my unapologetic stalking of the Booktube newbie tag. At least 3 or 4 times a week I search that tag by upload date and see the new people coming into the community. And one of the things I enjoy the most is when a tag stands out, not in the answers, because honestly most of the time the answers are pretty straightforward or pretty similar to each other, but when they find a new way to present the tag itself in a very creative way, it's a good indication of the creativity of the person behind the channel. This is why I have chosen Toast Dragon Fantasy to be the person whom I shout out today.
Now, you must understand, Daniel, that we here at YouTube don't just accept any Tom, Dick, and Harry to start a channel. You know, I'm pretty sure anyone can join. Sorry.
His name is Mark. He's 67 years old. He used to be an astronaut, and now he's living in Singapore, or at least that's what it says here. But anyway, he filmed the Booktube newbie tag as if it was a job interview, and that resonated with me because I've always been of the opinion that a lot of the questions, or at least some of them, really feel like job interview questions, ones that, you know, there's no real proper way to answer, and others are the kind of questions that kind of answer themselves by the way it's phrased. So it felt really on point to film it as if it was a job interview, playing both roles of interviewer and interviewee. Since joining the community about 2 weeks ago, Mark has uploaded 4 different videos as of this recording, the Booktube newbie tag and the AuthorTube newbie tag. He also put up a video explaining how he rates things, something he calls the dragon scale, and most recently he put up a TBR. I think Mark is actually a very good representation of the kind of people that excel in this medium. Looking at not only just the newbie tag, but even his TBR, he is able to present the tried and true kind of content you'd expect from Booktube, but in its own unique style and somewhat dry sense of humor, which is something that I am absolutely akin with. Again, ask anybody on my Voxer, they will vouch for it. There's very little dry humor that does not resonate with me. But, like I always say when it comes to these shoutouts, I don't want you just to go and subscribe to his channel. I want you to watch his video, and I want you to make the decision for yourself. But again, like always, I am certain that you're gonna find something you like. And that's gonna do it for this week. This is the end of the What Am I At? As always, with any of my videos, if there's anything said or hinted at or commented upon, or even remotely addressed in this video that provokes an opinion of yourself, whether it's agreeing or disagreeing, militant or praise, just head down to the comment section and let me know. I hope I've made it abundantly clear that I live for discussion and debate. So let me know what you think. Yeah, that's it. I still don't really know how to end videos. It's only been a year, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.